The blue nylon is 3/4 of an inch wide. It has the letters NCSU printed in white, repeating every 2 inches. It's designed to break under 10 pounds of sudden tension, a safety feature so it doesn't choke the person wearing it if it gets caught in a machine or a door. On May 22nd, 2025, that lanyard didn't snap. It just slid. It slid off the neck of a 25-year-old student named Marcus as his center of gravity shifted, and the physics of a normal walk across Centennial Campus simply stopped working. There's a specific kind of silence that happens right before a major structural failure. It's not the absence of sound. It's the sound of a system reaching its absolute limit. Most people never hear it. Marcus heard it. He was halfway between the engineering building and the library when the internal pressure changed. I'm just walking, and I can feel the weight of my backpack. The fluid dynamics book is in there, and it's heavy. It's always heavy, and the straps are digging into my shoulders. It's Raleigh in May. The air is thick. It's like trying to breathe through a wet towel. I'm thinking about the lab. I'm thinking about the data I need to clean up, and then the valve closes. That's the only way I can describe it. It felt like a corroded valve in a high-pressure line just snap. It just seized. I don't even know if I gasped. I just know the air stopped moving. My chest didn't hurt, not like a heart attack in the movies, not like a sharp pain. It was a pressure. It was like someone had parked a truck on my sternum and then just left it there. My right leg had been dull for 2 days. I thought it was just the walk. I thought I'd pulled something in the gym. I'm 25. You don't think about blood clots when you're 25. You think about the next deadline. You think about whether you have enough in your account for dinner. I'm looking at the pavement, the gray asphalt. It's got these little glints of quartz in it. I can see them so clearly because I'm getting closer to them. I'm falling. Look. I'm trying to tell this in order, but it's hard because everything started happening at once. I'm falling and I'm thinking about terminal velocity. Isn't that stupid? I'm an engineering student and my brain is trying to calculate the impact force before I hit the ground. I see my lanyard, the blue one. It's right there in my peripheral vision, and then it's not. It's sliding away. My face hits the grit. I can smell the hot tar and the dust. I can hear someone shouting. It's far away, like they're shouting from the bottom of a well. And I want to tell them it's fine. I want to say, I just need a second for the pressure to equalize, but I can't move my jaw. My mouth is full of the taste of copper. I can still feel it right now. I'm sitting here in this chair and I can feel the grit against my cheek. I can feel the exact moment the friction of the world just gave up. Everything goes quiet. The laptop, fans, the traffic on main campus drive, the birds. It's like someone hit the master kill switch on the whole campus. And it's not dark. That's the thing everyone gets wrong. It's not dark. It's like the brightness got turned up so high that the colors just bled out. I wasn't in my body anymore. I know how that sounds. I spent 4 years studying mechanics and load-bearing structures, and I'm telling you, the pilot left the cockpit. I was hovering. I could see the top of my own head. I could see my backpack. The zipper was half open. I always forget to close that side, and I could see my NC State hoodie. I looked small. I looked like a discarded piece of hardware. I wasn't scared. No, that's a lie. I was terrified, but it was a cold terror. It was the terror of a calculation that doesn't add up. I'm looking at my body and I'm looking at the library in the distance, and I'm realizing that the connection between the two has been severed. The signal is gone. I tried to reach down. I tried to grab the strap of the bag. I thought if I could just get the weight back on my shoulders, I'd be anchored. But my hand, I didn't have a hand. I had a perspective. That's all I was. A point of view that was rising. The Raleigh skyline started to shrink. I could see the lake, could see the trees, and then I could see the curve of the earth. It wasn't like a map. It was like I was seeing the blueprint. I could see the lines of force. I could see the way everything was held together by these oscillations. Everything was vibrating. The buildings, the water, the people running toward the body on the sidewalk, they were all part of this massive, complex frequency. And then the sound came back. But it wasn't the sound of the world. It was a hum, a deep, resonant hum that felt like it was coming from inside my own chest. Except I didn't have a chest. It was the sound of the machine running, the big one. the one the universe is built on. I kept thinking about my dad. He's not here. He's been gone since I was 10. He used to sit at the kitchen table with these old math workbooks, and he'd tell me that if you look close enough, the world is just one big equation. He'd say, Marcus, find the variable. Once you find the variable, you own the problem. I was looking for the variable. I was looking for the thing that made sense of why I was 30,000 feet up and looking at the Atlantic Ocean while my body was face down in the dirt in North Carolina. I felt this pull, like a magnet. A massive high-density magnet was being activated somewhere far away, and I was the iron filings. I couldn't resist it. I didn't want to. There was this sense that the friction was finally gone. For my whole life, everything had been about effort. Pushing against the grade, pushing against the bills, pushing against the feeling that I didn't belong in those high-level labs. Now there was no push. There was just flow. I hit the light, or the light hit me. It wasn't like a sun. It was like being inside a diamond. Everything was sharp. Everything was clear. I could see every mistake I'd ever made, not as a list, but as a shape. I could see the time I lied to my mom about the car. I could see the time I ignored that kid in the hallway who looked like he was drowning. I could see it all, and it didn't feel like a judgment. It felt like data. It was just the truth of what I'd built. And then I saw the glass. The whole world, the one I just left, it started to look like it was made of thin, fragile glass. And it was breaking. Every second, it was breaking and reforming. And I realized I was standing on something much, much older. I looked down in whatever way you do there, and I saw the sneakers, my sneakers. But they weren't on the asphalt anymore. They were on this floor that looked like it was made of liquid light. And it was solid. It was the most solid thing I'd ever felt. I don't know how long I was there. They say it was 5 minutes. 5 minutes and 18 seconds. But there's no way. I lived a year in those 5 minutes. I saw things that don't have words. I saw the way the light moved through the people I loved. I saw my sister in her lab in Houston. I saw her looking at a slide, and I could see the cells. I could see the way the proteins were folding. It was so beautiful it made my eyes ache. Except I didn't have eyes. I'm trying to be precise. I really am. But the vocabulary it's not built for this. It's like trying to explain calculus using only the alphabet. You can get close, but you're always going to miss the actual logic of it. The presence arrived then. I didn't see a face at first. I just felt the pressure. It was like the gravity had been turned back on, but it was a gravity that loved me. That sounds crazy, I know. Gravity doesn't love things, it just pulls. But this was a pull that knew exactly who I was. It knew about the D I got in sophomore year. It knew about the way I feel when I'm the only one in the room who looks like me. It knew the way I breathe when I'm trying not to cry. And it didn't care. No, it did care. It cared so much that the weight of it almost broke me again. I have to stop. I can feel my heart. It's doing that thing, that fast light tapping against my ribs, like it's trying to tell me something. Like it's trying to remind me that I'm back in the experiment. I'm back in the room where the windows face the wrong way. The light, I'm back in it. Right now, talking to you, I can feel the edges of my vision starting to hum. It's not a sound you hear with your ears. It's a sound your bones make when they're being tuned. I'm standing on that glass. That's what it looked like anyway. Like obsidian, but clear. And I could see through it. I could see the campus down there, but it wasn't the campus I knew. It was the skeleton of it. I could see the heat coming off the brick. I could see the way the moisture was moving through the soil. It was like looking at a live render of the whole world, but the resolution was infinite. And then I see him. My dad. I haven't seen him in 15 years. In my head, he's always sitting at that yellow Formica table in our old apartment in Durham, wearing that same gray cardigan with the frayed elbows. He was a math teacher. He lived for the proofs. He used to say that a proof was just a way of proving to God that you were paying attention. He's standing there on the glass. He doesn't have the cardigan. He doesn't have the tired look in his eyes, that look of a man who worked 2 jobs just to make sure I had the right graphing calculator for school. He looks like he's been scrubbed. That's the only word. Like all the grit and the worry of being a black man in a world that's always looking for a reason to stop you, it was just gone. He looks at me and he doesn't say Marcus. He doesn't have to. The understanding of my name it hits me. It's like a physical weight. He's holding something. It's one of those old composition notebooks, the ones with the marbled black and white covers. I remember those. He had hundreds of them. He'd fill them with problems he'd set for his students, and he'd mark the ones where they made interesting errors. He says, and it's not a voice, it's a realization. He says, now the light is on. I can feel my throat tightening. I can't breathe, but I don't need to breathe. It's like the air itself is made of information. Dad, I say, or I think it. It's the same thing there. I'm in the middle of a code. I'm supposed to be at the library. He laughs. It's the sound he used to make when I'd spend 3 hours on a problem and then realize I'd forgotten a negative sign on the first step. It's a warm sound, but it's sharp. It's the sound of someone who knows the answer and is just waiting for you to see it. He tells me the universe has a narrator. I stop. I'm trying to process that. A narrator. Like a story? I've spent 4 years learning that the universe is a series of cold, hard constants. Thermodynamics, electromagnetism. The stuff that doesn't care if you're a good person or if you're scared of the dark. He says you can't hear the narrator from inside the experiment. My head, I feel like it's going to crack open. I'm looking at him and I'm looking at the glass and I'm trying to find the variable. I'm trying to find the math that makes this real. And that's when the presence moves in. It wasn't behind me. It was everywhere. It was the floor and the light and my father's face. It was the specific way the proteins were folding in my sister's lab 3 states away. It's Jesus. I'm saying the name now and it feels like a heavy stone in my mouth. I grew up in the church. My mama had me in the pews every Sunday. I heard the stories. I saw the paintings. I thought it was a cultural thing. I thought it was how we survived. A story we told ourselves so the weight of the world didn't crush us. But this wasn't a story. He was standing there. And he wasn't the guy from the paintings. He didn't look like he was made of stained glass. He looked more real than I did. He looked like the source of the render. He looks at me and I can feel my heart, the one that's stopped, the one that's face down on the concrete. I can feel it trying to kick over. He says, "You're looking for the math, Marcus." His voice, it's not a sound. It's a vibration that goes right through my center. It's like the low-end bass at a concert that makes your teeth rattle, but it's clean. It's perfectly clean. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm standing there in my NC State hoodie and my sneakers, and I'm looking at the creator of the stars. I don't understand the physics of this, I say. I sound like a child. I sound like I'm 5 years old, and I just broke something expensive. He steps closer. The light around him isn't shining on things, it's coming out of them. He says, "The physics are a subset of the love." I shake my head. I'm resisting it. I can feel myself pushing back. Love isn't a force, I say. It's a chemical reaction. It's oxytocin. It's a survival mechanism. I'm saying this to him. I'm standing in the middle of eternity, arguing about biology. He doesn't get angry. He doesn't look disappointed. He looks like he's watching a seed try to explain why it doesn't need the sun. He says, "The chemicals are the shadows the love throws on the wall." I just stop. My shoulders drop. I didn't even know I was holding them up near my ears. I can feel the tension in my jaw, tension I've had since I started my freshman year. It just dissolves. He reaches out. He doesn't touch me, but I can feel the warmth. It's like standing near a furnace on a cold night. He says, "You think you're the one running the experiment." I look at my dad. He's nodding. He's got that look he used to get when I finally understood why the square root of a negative number had to be imaginary. "I'm just trying to finish my degree," I say. My voice is cracking. I'm reliving this right now and I can feel my throat closing up. I'm just trying to make something of myself. Jesus looks at me. And I mean, he looks at me. Not at my face, not at my grades. He looks at the part of me that was there before I was born, the part that's going to be there after the sun goes out. He says, "You already are something. You're mine." The pressure, it's too much. I can't stand up anymore. I'm not falling. I'm letting go. It's like the moment you realize the floor is actually solid and you can stop trying to fly. I'm on my knees on that glass and I'm looking at his feet. They're just feet. They're dusty. They look like they've walked a long way. And I realized that the whole universe isn't a machine. It's not an equation. It's a person. I'm trying to tell you this fast because I feel like if I slow down, I'll lose the frequency. He told me I had to go back. He didn't say go back and tell the world. He didn't give me a list of things to fix. He just said it was time to re-enter. I didn't want to. I wanted to stay on the glass. I wanted to stay with my dad and the composition's notebooks and the warmth that felt like home. I'm not done, I say. I'm arguing again. I haven't done anything yet. He smiles. It's a small smile. It's the smile of someone who has all the time in the world. He says, you've done enough just by being here. And then he says something that I'm still trying to figure out. He says the receiver is about to turn back on. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know I was the receiver. I thought I was the broadcast. I thought I was the one making the noise. The light starts to pull away, or I'm being pushed. It's like the gravity is reversing. I see my dad one last time. He's waving. He's not sad. He's there. He's waiting. And then the hum changes. It gets louder. It gets harsher. It starts to sound like static. I'm falling again. But this time it's dark. It's cold, and I can feel the weight coming back, the backpack, the shoes, the grit against my cheek. I'm trying to hold on to the light. I'm trying to catch it in my hands like it's water, but it's slipping through my fingers. I can hear the sirens now. They're loud. They're so loud they hurt. Someone is pressing on my chest. It's a rhythmic, brutal pressure. 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to tell them to stop. I want to tell them I was just with the narrator, but my mouth is full of copper and I can't find the air. The pressure is the first thing that comes back. It's not the light anymore. It's the weight of the atmosphere. It's like being shoved into a suit that's 3 sizes too small. My ribs, I can feel them cracking. That's what CPR is. It's a series of controlled fractures. I'm gasping, but there's no air, just the taste of iron and the smell of ozone from the paddles. I'm at WakeMed. I don't know that yet, but I can feel the fluorescent lights burning through my eyelids. It's a different kind of light. It's aggressive. It's clinical. It's not the light that comes out of things. It's the light that exposes them. I open my eyes and I'm looking at a ceiling tile. One of those white acoustic tiles with the little black speckles. I start counting them. I don't know why. I just need to count something. 1, 2, 3. A nurse is saying my name. Marcus? Marcus, can you hear me? I want to tell her I heard the narrator. I want to tell her the world is made of glass and love is a fundamental force like electromagnetism. But I just cough. My throat feels like I swallowed a handful of dry sand. My sister, Linda, came in that afternoon. She drove up from Fayetteville. She's an oncologist, so she spends her whole life looking at cells that have forgotten how to die. She's the smartest person I know. She sat by the bed and she didn't cry. Not at first. She just checked the monitors. She looked at the telemetry like she was grading a test. I told her. I waited until the room was quiet and the machines were just humming in the background. I told her about the glass pavement. I told her about Dad and the composition notebooks. I told her about the presence. She listened. She didn't interrupt. She's a scientist. She has that way of listening where you can see her updating the variables in her head. I said, Linda, what does this do to the model? That's what we always ask in the lab. If the data contradicts the model, you don't throw out the data. You break the model. She looked at me and her hand was shaking just a little bit. She said, Marcus, you were down for 5 minutes and 18 seconds. A saddle embolism. The clot hit the bifurcation of the pulmonary artery. You shouldn't be talking. You shouldn't be coherent. I was there, I said. I wasn't gone. I was more there than I am right now. I'm sitting here in my room in Raleigh. I'm looking at my desk. I have this TI I-84 calculator. It's the one my dad bought me. The plastic is worn down on the corners. I've used it for every exam since 10th grade. I'm holding it right now and I'm looking at the screen. I used to think that this little piece of hardware was the most reliable thing in the world. Input, output, certainty. I told Linda that I don't think the brain is the source anymore. I don't think the neurons are the thing generating the me. I think the brain is just the receiver. It's like a radio. When the radio breaks, the music doesn't stop. You just can't hear it anymore. The signal is still in the air. It's everywhere. It's moving through the walls and the trees and the people walking their dogs on Lake Raleigh. The music is the constant. The hardware is the variable. She told me about her patients, the kids in the oncology ward. She said when they come back from a code, they're different. They aren't afraid. They talk about a light that didn't hurt their eyes. I'm not afraid either. That's the part that's hard to explain. I'm 25 and I almost died on a sidewalk. And I'm not afraid. I've been going back to the campus. I walk past the spot where I fell. I look at the quartz in the asphalt. I look at the Hunt Library. It looks different now. It looks like a temporary structure. It looks like something built out of paper. I'm still finishing my degree. I'm still doing the fluid dynamics, but the math feels like I'm reading a translation. I'm looking at the equations and I'm seeing the shadows they're throwing. I know what's behind them now. I visit my mom on the weekends. She still has the picture of my dad on the mantle. I haven't told her everything, not yet. I just sit with her and we watch the birds. I find myself being, I'm quieter. I spend a lot of time looking at this calculator. I'm looking at the y equals button. I think about all the functions I've plugged into this thing, trying to map out how the world works, trying to find the logic. I remember what he said about the chemicals being the shadows. I look at the screen and it's blank. It's just a gray rectangle. But I know that if I press the right buttons, the code is there. It's always been there. I'm just waiting for the next time the light turns on. 5 minutes and 18 seconds. That's the window the medical team at WakeMed recorded. It's the time it took to clear the obstruction and get the heart to resume its rhythm. In the world of clinical data, that's a measurable span, a gap in a narrative that otherwise follows a predictable path of biological failure. But for Marcus, those 318 seconds didn't contain a gap. They contained a year. They contained a conversation that restructured his understanding of the very physics he was studying. It's a discrepancy we see across thousands of these accounts. The clock moves in one direction at one speed, while the observer moves in another. We call it a hallucination because it doesn't fit the hardware's capacity. But if the hardware isn't the source, if it's just the antenna, then the length of the signal isn't limited by the state of the receiver. Marcus still carries his lanyard, the blue one. He told me he doesn't wear it anymore, but he keeps it in his backpack, right next to the fluid dynamics textbook and that battered TI-84. He says he keeps it there to remind him of the day the friction disappeared on the sidewalk outside the Hunt Library.